Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, for those of you who are seeing me for the first time, welcome to my new series called Pretty Girls with Pretty Brains. In the first episode of Pretty Girls with Pretty Brains, we're going to be talking about focus, specifically your attention span, because our brain is fried and we are not realizing it. I myself am very passionate about brain health, and it is a topic that I love to read upon, I love to research about, and listen. As a biology student, a content creator, a business owner, I spend the majority of my day behind screens. And overall, I have been noticing very strong changes in my emotional well being. I've always been very emotionally stable, but in the past few months, my emotions have been really wrecked, as well as my overall mental well being. And it got me thinking, what the hell is going on? So I took out my books, I took out the internet, and I did some digging. And I also saw some other people talking about it, but unfortunately, we're not talking about this enough. And there's a particular moment that happened a few weeks ago where I've been going through these cycles where I'm very productive for like 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, something clicks and I am just off. I am apathetic. I have no energy. I am tired. I tend to self sabotage and I get really depressed and very anxious. And it got me thinking, what the hell is this? Because I know my biology as like a woman, I know that we go through some hormonal changes, but this cannot be from my cycle. This is like next level. Because as I'm saying, one moment I am driven, I am productive, I am motivated, my energy is high, I have routine, I have discipline, and then all of a sudden it just drops. And I started noticing a pattern. So whenever I would go through these high achieving, very disciplined periods, for example, my exam season, so I would, crush these exams and then I would let myself have a little rest day. The rest day would lead to rotting, the rotting would lead to these emotions, and it would disrupt completely everything. So I realized I keep making this one mistake. So as I said, I spend the majority of my day behind screens. And then when it's time to relax or, take a day off, what do? I replace the work with more screens. So I rest with screens, which of course occasionally is not a bad thing. But when you come to think about it, the things that technology and social media and screens do to us is ridiculous. And in this video, I'm gonna be more of focusing on social media. So get out your pens and pencils and papers because this video is gonna be very information heavy. And before we get on with the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my social media links where it's more lifestyle and beauty centered. And now let's get on with the video. So again, as I said, there would be these certain periods or something small would happen that didn't go my way. I would tell myself, okay, I can rest, I can grab my phone and doom scroll for just a little bit. That little bit that was 10 minutes would turn into 20 and 30 and so on. And then I would get off my phone and think, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I feeling like this? Stop mistaking doom scrolling and watching screens as resting. And stop trading rest for artificial distractions. Think about it. When is the last time you did something without your screens? When is the last time you woke up without grabbing your phone first? When is the last time you ate without scrolling on your phone? When is the last time you went to the bathroom without your phone? Our phone is glued to our hands. And what is even worse, and I am talking from experience here because this is sort of a journey that I myself am going through right now. You're watching a movie. What do? You pull out your phone, you're scrolling your phone while there's TV playing. When is the last time you simply just sat? You sat and you looked out of the window, or you were waiting in line, just waiting in line. When is the last time you cooked without watching a YouTube video? When is the last time you took a shower without listening to music? When is the last time you just did something without doing anything else at the same time? When is the last time you didn't multitask? I love a good discipline and I love a good willpower, but these two can get you only so far. But you cannot fight with biology because all of these things that we're going to be talking about today, attention span, focus, brain rot, all of these things are happening on a biological chemical level. And those are things that are very hard to fight. So you need to understand what those screens, what that phone does to you in order to get back your time, your focus, your mental health, your energy, your discipline, your everything. Because it is that goddamn phone, as our parents told us. So let's talk some science. We are all told how drugs are bad, how sugar is bad, how nicotine is bad, how alcohol is bad. But we're not talking about one of the most accessible drugs to us on earth, short form content. I know it sounds dramatic, but listen to me. Apps like TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of these apps have one thing in common. These apps are designed to trigger your brain's dopamine reward system, which is the exact system that lights up when you eat good food, when you fall in love, when you do drugs. And let's break it down even more. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, which is like a chemical messenger in your brain. It's not exactly the pleasure chemical as everybody says it is. It's more of a motivational reward chemical. It tells your brain, that felt good, let's do it again. Or that was satisfying, I'll remember that. And back in the early ages, like Stone Age, these neurochemicals, neurotransmitters, they kept us alive. Because dopamine spiked whenever we found berries, whenever we hunted animals, when we achieved something important. It reinforced behaviors that kept us alive. But our brain is not made for these 15-second dopamine spikes for an hour a day. And you're not realizing that this is very similar, and I'm going to be talking about this later on in this video. The chemical reactions that happen in your brain while you're scrolling are very dangerously similar to drug abuse. Your brain is not made to be rewarded every 8 seconds. There has been many studies done exactly on this topic. The participants in this study were split into two groups. Group A, people who are addicted to short form content. And group B are people who aren't addicted to short form content. And after watching some videos, they did a test on these people. And you want to know something shocking? The group who was addicted not only had slower reaction times, they also retained way less information. They made more mistakes, and their eye movement was way more scattered. They weren't able to focus as well. So short-form content isn't just a waste of time. It weakens your actual cognitive performance. And now don't get me wrong, I love TikTok. I love TikTok. I create content on TikTok, and I still think that social media is such an amazing thing. And for many of us, it opened doors that we could not even dream about, whether it was your job, whether it was education, whether it was friends and connections. But there has to be a boundary, and there has to be understanding of what such content does to you. Now let's paint a bigger picture. The modern brain of the modern human, Homo sapiens, has existed for over 300,000 years. It hasn't really changed that much ever since. TikTok and other short form content launched around the year 2016. That means we are using our caveman brain for something such high technology as short form content. If human evolution was a 24-hour clock, then TikTok arrived in the last second of the day, which basically means our brain cannot keep up with the amount of technology we're using. So we often use the term our brain is fried because our brain just cannot catch up. It's as if you would ask a very old car to drive as fast as a Formula One car. That car would not be able to, and it would get faulty. It would, honestly, I don't know that much about cars, but it would just break. That is what we're doing to our own brain. And as I've said, social media is very, very addictive. Let's compare it to the drugs. A certain, and I'm not sure I can say the name here on YouTube, but a certain drug of powdered consistency floods your brain with dopamine, which results in it feeling good. It blocks dopamine from being reabsorbed, which makes you feel super euphoric and relaxed and happy. Now, TikTok, it does not use exactly dopamine, but it causes your brain to release dopamine naturally. Every few seconds, every new swipe, every new trend, every new audio releases dopamine in your brain, which hits your reward pathway. And over time, your brain starts to respond to it same way as to that specific drug. You get desensitized, you need more content to get that high. You start to get withdrawals when you get off your phone, which is, you feel, that feeling when you're holding your phone and you physically cannot stop scrolling. You keep telling yourself, just one more TikTok and I'm gonna stop. Just one more TikTok and I'm gonna stop. And then you get off and you sit there and you're like, oh my God, what do I do with my life right now? You feel bored, irritable, and empty when it stops. And even if we are not talking about dopamine necessarily, imagine you're scrolling your phone and every 8 seconds you feel a different emotion. That is also not healthy because you never know what algorithm is gonna throw you, right? So you're scrolling, one video makes you super happy, then the next video makes you super sad because you see something tragic. Then one video makes you angry because it's some rage bait. And then the other video is, something that makes you anxious because you start to compare yourself. And you do this whole thing for an hour a day. And an hour a day, I think I'm being pretty generous here because a lot of us spend way more than just 1 hour a day on social media. And this is why our generation is so sensitive and also desensitized at the same time. Chronically unmotivated, chronically depressed, chronically anxious. And I'm not saying that, social media is the root cause of all of these things, but it is a very big factor in today's world. And your brain is very smart. It can recognize when your dopamine levels are too high. So in order to protect you, it downregulates it. It turns the volume down, which reduces receptor sensitivity. So that's why when you get off your phone, nothing feels exciting anymore. That's because your dopamine levels were so high and then you fell, and the standard to your dopamine is so high that nothing can reach it. Life overall starts to feel dull. You scroll more, you chase the next hit, but it doesn't feel as satisfying anymore. We see the exact same pattern in drug addiction, gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, and social media addiction. We chase aesthetics and peace and happiness, but we're never achieving it because physically our brain just cannot. Now here comes distraction. You sit down, you want to focus on something, and your brain is distracted. I already have a video on productivity that I released last week, and I'm going to link it down below. But this is kind of a add-on to that video because you can have the perfect productive routine, but if your brain is unhealthy, it's just going to be bad. You're not going to be able to achieve anything. You're not going to be able to regulate your emotions, to have that discipline, and to have that motivation. because we're not talking about an environment problem. We're not talking about not enough time. We're talking about the deep biology of your brain, because your distractions aren't the problem. That phone is a problem, but that phone on itself is not a problem. You're not procrastinating necessarily, you are overstimulated. That's the problem. When you're doing a task on your computer and it's boring, you hate sitting with boredom. So you grab for a distraction because your brain is so used to being stimulated and stimulated until it's overstimulated and you're just flooded with these information and videos and everything. Your brain is addicted to it and you cannot be bored. Your brain was never made to receive hundreds of micro emotions in 1 hour. It's never made to receive dozens of visual stimuli in an hour. And it was sure as hell not created to receive dozens of social media comparisons and reward loops. So when we're talking about not being able to focus, we're not talking about lack of attention. We're talking about a system that has been hijacked. In order to understand focus, we also have to talk about boredom, and specifically the default mode network, which I've already talked about in a couple of my videos. Whenever you're not doing anything, a specific part of your brain called the default mode network lights up. And this network is responsible for creativity, long-term planning, reflection, just all of that, the juices that come flowing to you when you're not doing anything. That's your default mode network. And that default mode network activates when you're not doing anything, when you're not consuming any information. That's why a lot of people say that they get their really good ideas in the shower or on a walk. And this mode is crucial to our brain, but the majority of us never let us brain do it. So in order to get your focus back and your mental clarity and that good emotional processing, you have to reset your brain a little bit. And I'm not talking about anything super drastic here. You have these monk modes where you're just like completely deprived of any dopamine. No, we're going to talk about small, actionable steps that you can take to reset your brain. And I don't think there's any super hack for this other than just getting off your damn phone. Having a phone-free morning is something that I often sleep on, but I really do notice the extreme difference it has on my productivity and on my overall well-being. Start doing things that don't require your phone. So when you're eating, this is something that I'm so bad at. I love watching something while I eat, but when I'm walking the dog, of course I have my phone with me, in case something happens, but I don't listen to any music. I don't listen to any podcast. I just go outside and I'm just outside and walking and looking around, and oftentimes I get really good YouTube ideas and content ideas and school ideas during those walks. When I take a shower, I don't play any music. So just overall limit your short form content. And especially in those times where it's very beneficial for you and for your brain to just be completely off your phone. And that is in the nature, when you're eating, when you're taking care of yourself, when you're preparing to go to bed, when you're waking up. I use this app Refocus, which blocks your apps. You can choose whichever apps you want, but of course I use it for social media, and it blocks them. And in order to get on the app, you have to first get on the Refocus app, set in a timer, and then it will allow you for a certain amount of time, depends on how much of time you want to spend on it. And this gives you way more intention, because a lot of the times without us realizing it, let's say you are downloading something on your computer. It shows 2 minutes. Okay, so you grab your phone and you scroll a little bit. And then, 2 minutes go by, your file has already been downloaded, and there you are still scrolling. Oftentimes without us even thinking about it, we grab our phone and the first thing we open is Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. So this not only gives you way more control because, when you want to open it, it's blocked and you then have to go to the app and you think about it. Do I want to scroll now? Is it necessary? Probably not. It gives you that extra step that you have to take to scroll. So I 100% recommend that. There's so many different apps just like Refocus. It's for free. You also have these boxes that I think you can get off of Amazon or somewhere that lock your phone literally, or you can just put it in a different room. I for sure want to get a actual alarm clock so I don't have to use my phone and just keep my phone in a different bedroom or in a different room. But, that's just the other small things that you can do. But overall, limit your phone usage and especially social media. Next thing for you to be able to retrieve your focus back is going to be deep work and time blocking. So, as I said, it is very hard for our brain to keep switching tasks. So, that's why, what I love is splitting my week, if it's possible, of course, into different days. So, this day is going to be filming day. This day is going to be school day. This day is going to be editing day. Or you can just split up your day, but make sure that you're giving enough time for the tasks so that you can actually focus. And you can use the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes on and 5 minutes off, or 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off. But make sure during those breaks, you don't overstimulate your brain again. So just sit there, be bored, or grab a book, read for a little bit, walk a little bit, talk to your loved one. Just stay away from that phone. Also, turn off your goddamn notifications. I know people hate on me for this a lot because my phone is constantly on Do Not Disturb. And it is often, somewhere away from me. And everybody keeps, telling me, oh my God, you don't pick up your phone, or it takes you so long to respond. And I know sometimes I could be a little bit faster, but you don't owe anybody your attention. You don't need to be accessible 24/7. You can turn your phone off in the evening. Nothing bad is going to happen if you don't. And this is so important because, as I said, in today's world, everybody expects us to be available 24/7. And yes, of course, to some extent, be available. But if I am working, or if I'm in school, or if I'm studying, I am not picking it up because it's not healthy, nor do I want to be disturbed. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of your phone having this do not disturb mode or airplane mode or anything, and just try it. Just give it a go. Nothing bad is going to happen. Nobody's going to bite your head off for not returning a phone call within an hour. And yeah, simple as that. And the last thing I want to talk about is scatter focus. Now we have two types of focus. We have hyper focus, which is that, deep work, being in the flow. And then we have scatter focus, which is you just daydreaming. Because remember when we were kids and being distracted meant us daydreaming, us kind of just like our mind just wandering off? That's not really the case anymore. For now, when we're talking about distractions, we're talking about technology or screens. We need more daydreaming. We need more doing nothing. As I said, do boring tasks such as cleaning, such as taking a shower, such as cooking, without any distractions. And I'm not saying you have to do this all the time, but be conscious about it. Even when you're about to focus, this is what I like to do. Whenever I am about to go study or edit or something, I just sit and I stare out of the window for I don't know, it doesn't have to be long. It could be 2, 3, 4 minutes, and just look around. Just look around your room, look out from the window, and just think about, what am I looking at? What is that? What is that in the sky? Just let your mind go places. Our mind is so limited these days. So just yeah, just let your mind wander a little bit. I could talk for hours about the consequences of overstimulation, whether it would be from research or from my own experience, because the amount of havoc overstimulation has created on my brain and on my well being is saddening. It is depressing because, as I said at the beginning of the video, I was going through these periods where I just had days where even my most precious, heartfelt goals meant nothing to me. I could act like I don't care about them, or I felt like I don't care about them. And it got me thinking, how is this possible? How can something so important to me just all of a sudden mean nothing to me? And simply said, yes, it is the consequences of being constantly overstimulated. Because we thinking we're young, we're invincible, we have a lot of time, our brain is limitless, and we're just being modern. We're going with the trends, having digital watches, our phone, our iPads, our computers, our smart televisions, our, everything technology. And as I said, as much as I love technology, there are serious consequences because we're still not 100% sure what all of this is going to do to us in the next 30, 40, 50 years. There has been research that links overstimulated brain to the reduction of gray matter. Our memory is impaired because think about it. When is the last time, or was there ever a time where you scrolled for 20, 30 minutes and remembered anything from that doom scroll session? I don't think so. I don't think I don't think I remembered ever a single video I saw from my doom scrolling session. Reduced emotional irregulations. That's why you have these emotional spikes, because your brain just does not know how to handle the amount of emotions that we bottle up from social media. Because, as I said, we often don't realize that the marketing between the videos that you see online is it has to create an emotion in you, right? So, in marketing, I have a marketing agency, so I know what I'm talking about. But when you're doing marketing, when you're creating viral videos, what you want to do is create an emotion in that person, which sounds nice, you want to create an emotion, but that's the thing. People online are creating emotions in you. And if you keep flooding more and more emotions, good, bad, not good, neutral, whatever, it's gonna bottle up. And then that's why you become so irritable. And then the smallest things set you off. So if you're craving the ability to be able to focus for hours and being at peace and, having regulated nervous system, then you know the answer to that. Start looking deep within you and at the habits that you're creating and the relationship you have with your own phone and technology. Brain isn't broken. You're not lazy. You're not disciplined. And I'm sorry to say, the majority of us aren't anxious or depressed, or we are anxious and depressed, but it's not coming from us. It's coming from the goddamn phone. So train your mind to enjoy the silence, enjoy the boredom. Maybe do it once a week, that you just plan 1 hour where you don't plan anything. You just, let's say you sit at a desk and you have a 50-hour timer, and now you have to think of something to do or something to think about or just something, just plan the boredom, at least like 1 hour a week. It's not going to be easy. You're probably going to have some withdrawals because I sure as hell do. And yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be worth it because we still have no idea how much we're truly missing out on by being glued to our phones. If this video spoke to you, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. And comment down below what is one small change that you're going to be starting with this week. And if you enjoyed it, then I will see you at the episode 2 of Pretty Girls with Pretty Brains, where we talk all about brain health. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!